But in all of our programs, the key to integrative health is engaging the client, we call them patients in our hospital, as a partner in the healing process. And that's why, you know, with this future client, you need to know that they are there on their own accord and that they're going to take responsibility for changing their life and their health and their habits. Okay, so that's how they have to be engaged. Most people usually know what they really need to do to take care of themselves, but they really don't want to do it. Successfully taking care of ourselves means having faith in our ability to heal and to use what we are learning to improve the quality of living for our clients and ourselves. It includes expanding our awareness and shifting our paradigm so that we can begin to practice and teach self-care, self-healing, and self-responsibility. This has been the core of our philosophy since the program has begun. And like I said, in all the programs, this is what has to be emphasized, especially when you're getting clients referred or patients referred by the physician. I've seen a pattern that when they are on the dependent healthcare system, especially insurance systems, they don't always know that they must take full responsibility for their health. And it's an eye-opener when we educate them that they're the one that's going to make a difference instead of that we're going to provide the magic bullet to cure them or to change their habit. So you must engage them in the very beginning. So as everybody knows, alternative medicine is on the rise, and it is published everywhere. You're going to see it in the news, you're going to see it in the magazines, you're going to see it in propaganda, you see the burst in health fairs with a variety of different practitioners and energy workers that are out there. When I first started in this field of the energy medicine probably 20 years ago and started going to some of the national conferences, they were very, very small at that time. And you didn't see the number of energy practitioners openly practicing at these health fairs like you do today. I was recently up in Vancouver with Roger Lassard at his trade show event, and there was a very large health trade show there. And I was amazed as to the number of different modalities and health practitioners, energy workers, healthcare items, and this and that. And I know that you're all aware, of the new bill that is, on the verge of passing. So everybody must take a responsible role in that as well, because we are the future. And if we're going to be part of this future, we need to be responsible in voicing what it is that we want and what we're about. So here's some statistics. You can read that. As far as the billions of dollars, and it keeps going up. These are old statistics, but anyway, I wanted to show you because they've almost doubled now with the number of dollars that people are spending out of pocket for their health, for the alternative medicine compared to the traditional medicine. This is one reason that our hospital has embraced it, because showing them these statistics 10 years ago when we started the program, if we did not incorporate the alternative or integrated program into our system, then the individuals are going to start going outside of the system. And as you know, you're all independent practitioners, and everybody is starting their own practices in this work because there's a demand for it. There's got to be an easier way, but I don't know what. One of the first conferences I went to was with the NIH in Washington, D.C., and since that time, that was when they were first approving of alternative medicine, and also for alternative medicine to be covered and to be accepted as an alternative therapy. These are all the different programs or all the different conditions that we have referred by physicians in our hospital. And when I say referred, they come into our clinic with a prescription or with a physician's order so that the insurance will cover it. But addictions has been our #1 program, stroke, rehab, headache, neck problems, which is also a contributor to headaches, fibromyalgia, myofascial pain. We have had research done with the fibromyalgia program that we have been using these integrated modalities and very, very successful with that program. And again, with all of these programs, using the combination of what we had started with the integrative, I see that since we have implemented the SCIO, this is our #1 modality for all of the programs that we use, and the success rate for all these programs has gone up with the use of this. I would not be without the SCIO in both my private practice or practicing in the clinic because of the success that I know that we get with the patients and the clients. So there's a lot of different conditions. Low back pain, that's another one that you as practitioners, the failed back surgeries, 50% of back surgeries fail. And then when they have surgery again, 50% of those fail, and so we get those referred to our clinic. Now the physicians are referring them to our clinic prior to the surgery as a preventative. One other thing is before surgery with the smoking cessation program, there's a lot of surgeons, especially the orthopedic surgeons, that require the patients to be smoke-free before they will do surgery on them. And I think that that's wonderful because, as we're going to see later, the risk involved with smoking and the compromise on the tissues and the circulation, the healing is delayed when a person smokes. And so they've gone to the step to where they also will do urine tests to see if the nicotine, if they are still smoking, but they are requiring them to go through the program or highly suggesting that they do or find other means to quit. So the risk of tobacco use, I've got this all in your booklet there, but anyway, more than 430,000 lives a year, more than alcohol, cocaine, heroin, homicide, suicide, car accidents, fire, and AIDS combined. So, you know, tobacco use causes a huge health risk. And also, as you're going to see, it causes a huge cost to the institutions. And that's another reason why not only hospitals, but employers are requiring their employees to be smoke-free, because if they're insuring these people that are smoking, they're increasing the cost of insuring them, and then also the risk of the employee is far greater than a person that is non-smoking. So it is, it can be prevented. It accounts for 1/3 of all cancers. It causes heart disease and stroke, first and third leading cause of death in the United States. A lifetime of smoking costs smokers $40 a pack smoked, 30 to 50,000 deaths a year from passive smoke, and this is one annual cost per employee that smokes. And we'll show you the cost that we've done with over 6,000 employees that have taken the survey and how the insurance has gone up for the smoker versus the non-smoker. They actually get an incentive to where their insurance, they pay less on their copay for insurance when they are smoke-free, and even more so when they're smoke-free and exercising. So I feel that that's one reason that the hospital, you know, is voted the integrative, because they are teaching the public, educating the public on the importance of taking care of their own health and providing programs such as this, exercise programs, diabetes prevention programs, cardiac rehab programs. So everything to help not only educate the patient, but also to help them to rehabilitate. So these are as from that other thing, just a graphic of the annual deaths from the big four drugs, which is heroin, cocaine, alcohol, and as you can see, tobacco has the highest. Okay, so here's some cost for the smokers. And this is an incentive. When we bring them in on the first day, it's very important, again, to engage them. And so the nurse specialist, we spend an hour and a half generally with the client going through an educational process, showing them, bringing to their awareness, because some of them, if they're buying their cigarettes, especially the ones that get it on a daily basis, you know, or on the carton, they don't realize how much it's really costing them over the long term, over the year. And when we show that to them, one of the incentives, we show them how much they're going to be saving, and then we have them set a goal. Setting goals is very important, as you're going to see from other presenters here. But setting a goal for themselves and a reward system of how they're going to reward themselves, both short-term and long-term. And I had one client that was quitting smoking, and he decided when he saw how much money he was going to save, he kept a picture of a boat, just a real simple little fishing boat. And he got his boat. So that was great. Oh, there we go. Get and go is one of the fast places on our thing. One other thing that we, it's a progressive thing. We don't make them quit cold turkey. What we do on the very first day is, again, we set the goals with them. We cut down on the number of cigarettes that they're smoking to reduce the nicotine in their system. We also make some recommendations of the White Dove homeopathic addiction, or the barbiturate, smoking debarbiturate, number 1, which helps to decrease the cravings and the stress and the anxiety that goes with it. But also we make them, initially, if they're buying cartons, they can only buy 1 pack, and then from that package of cigarettes, they have to take them out of the cigarette package and put them into a baggie, because that takes away at least that anchor of however it is that they'd open up the cigarette. So you have to look at every single aspect of their activity and their behavior with the smoking. And because that's what you're going to be changing. You're not only going to be changing them quitting smoking, you have to look at the full underlying causes and all the psychological behaviors and unconscious behaviors that they're doing. And again, bring to their awareness what it is that they're doing and begin to change those patterns as they're going through this process. Again. So just a little bit about what tobacco really is. And actually, tobacco in itself is a natural product, but it's when they add all the additional chemicals, and I call them poisons, chemical poisons, to the tobacco that makes it so addictive and so deadly. So, just a little bit more, again, that we bring to their awareness on, this is some of the educational material that we share with the client to bring to their awareness of what nicotine does, because a lot of them, they've been smoking, but they have not really realized what the nicotine has been doing in their system and how it's affecting their sympathetic nervous system and what it's doing to the lungs. And visuals will be very effective when you're working with the smoking cessation program because if they can see what the tar looks like, so we have a glass jar full of the tar. We have another glass jar that shows how much mucus, so it's a jar that looks like simulated gooey mucus. And the more visual and graphic that you can be, again, to bring to their awareness so that they know what they're doing and that this is what's happening inside their body, then that will also play a role in their cessation. So this is all the chemicals that I was talking about, and we have a little poster showing them all of the other additional chemicals that are being put into the cigarettes. And again, everything is about awareness. So this is, like I said, we've had this program for 10 years that we've been following, and actually this is after a full 1-year period. The short-term results are very, very high. They're 88% for the first 2 months, but then it will gradually go down, and that's why we now have extended the program so that they are able to come back into the program if they're having a crisis situation or an exacerbation, so that we can catch them and have even better success rates. But with nicotine and Nicorette gum, the success rates for that over 1 year is only 22%. There are some other pharmaceuticals out there. We do not recommend pharmaceuticals in our program any longer. In the very beginning, we did in 1997, but we used to recommend the nicotine and Nicorette and Wellbutrin. That's what the physicians would prescribe to the patients. But anymore, because of the approaches that we use that are all natural, and because we can recommend natural supplementation as well as the homeopathics, then we no longer have insurance support paying for the nicotine, or if they do the Wellbutrin, that's on their own. So I think that these results speak for themselves. The one in the blue here, this is when we added the scale. So you can see we were starting, this is when we had just the education component, and we hadn't started implementing several of the other. This is when I've added the Auricular, which I am going to share with you because, like I said, my clinical practice is as a multidisciplinary clinician, and so that's what I want to share with you. I do know that there's practitioners that are using the smoking program effectively on its own, but the results that I have here is from the multidisciplinary approach. And it's a very simple approach as well that you as practitioners can incorporate into your practice if you choose to do so, with the simple things that we've put together. So this is when we've added the auricular, we added the essential oils in here. We also had massage in here for the stress reduction. And then we started doing even more clinical education. This is when the SKIO was introduced. And our results have stayed pretty consistent because now we've refined the program to where we have a strong educational component as well as follow-through program, and then the support with the SKIO and the auricular activation, as well as the other stress management techniques that we have. So this is a very good success rate over a one-year period of time. Like I said, it's the highest success rate in the country right now. So, we'll just keep refining it, but you always are going to have people that, for whatever psychological reasons or needs, they are going to have that exacerbation. So being able to catch them, when they do start smoking again, and be able to support them and putting them back through without making them feel guilty, and I think is very, very important. So these are some of the costs. When you're looking at a large institute, we're a 700-bed hospital, over 6,000 employees. And when you're looking at that, and when it's a self-insured institute, there's other large institutes that are very interested in how they can save the bottom dollar. And that's what they're going to look at with the alternative methods when you're introducing this into a mainstream medical system. I had the opportunity to go to Dubai, Saudi Arabia, a couple weeks ago and present to the Minister of Health. And that country is very progressive in their prevention aspect, but presenting to the physicians within the allopathic setting, again, they're looking at, number one, they want to know the results that they're going to get, and number two, is it going to save them money, and is it going to be cost effective? And the answer is yes, yes to both. Because what we have here with the SKIO and with these simple applications far exceed the cost of pharmaceuticals and the cost of surgery and the cost of long-term effects. In my early years as a nurse, I worked for 15 years in the intensive care. And I did that for several reasons. One, because coming fresh out of nursing school, I wanted to, stay current with what I had just learned. But in a very what it showed me was the stress that these people go through, but also what happens to people when they don't take care of themselves. And the end result is that they end up in a crisis situation, over long-term conditions. Working in the intensive cares, it brought to my awareness the need for prevention and the need to help people before they get to that extreme of ending their lives in such a critical state. So anyway, bottom line is that it does save thousands of dollars when you're looking at the comparison of a smoker versus a non-smoker. So these are some statistics. We have plenty of people that want to quit, but about 35% quit for at least one day each year after New Year's. They make a New Year's resolution. Most quitters require multiple attempts, and that's why we have the open-ended policy at our clinic that they can come back and have a reactivation. And I call it activation because I feel that that's what we're doing, is we're activating the body electric as well as the brain chemicals. 50% of people who have ever smoked have quit, but you don't know for how long. Successful attempts are tied to strong personal motivation. And that is key, and that is why throughout the program, the nurses and the specialists there, they continually educate and see that the patients are meeting their goals. And so we go through a very specific questionnaire asking them if they're exercising, what lifestyle changes have they made, are they drinking water to continue to hydrate and flush out their system, are they exercising? So we're motivating them the whole time in reinforcing the choice that they've made, and also helping them to feel good about themselves is important too. Okay, so what we've done, I feel that this is a true holistic intervention using the combination of the SKIO with the integrative technologies. And I call it, like I said, biochemical repair without pharmaceutical drugs. And we do have the support of our physicians that do know that we're using non-pharmaceutical approaches. And the pain clinic docs, they are the most supportive because they have patients that are in, such severe pain, and the migraine patients that they've tried all the extremes, with pharmaceuticals, and they know that that doesn't work, but we get results with them. And when the client or the patient, they're going to be your best advocate with the results that you're going to get, both with the smoking and with your pain management. So this is one of our nurses, Terry, during the initial consult, where she's educating the patient and giving them the support that they need initially. There's a lot of fear and anxiety that come up with that initial consult because they know that they're making a decision to quit. Now, I have worked with people cold turkey, in my private practice, which I'm going to demonstrate today. And, that can be successful as well. But it's going to be up to that individual as to how highly motivated they are and disciplined they are, and also the support system that they're going to be going back to. So that's something that we look at when we're doing the initial consult, is what support do they have out there? Are they going to go back to a house where, the husband and the kids are smoking, or the house is, smelling of smoke? And so they've got to go through a clearing and cleansing process and set the ground rules that there's no more smoking in the house. They're required the first day that they can no longer smoke in the house. They smoke outside. And then it progresses. They can no longer smoke in the car. And so then they also go through a clearing. And in my beginner class, I teach the practitioners how to do inanimate clearing. And you can clear like your vehicle, you can clear your home with the EPFX, because it's so important to cleanse and clear these energies of a smoke environment. And also because it has such a trigger on them, and with the biochemical chemistry in their brain, it's every time they smell the smoke, it's going to trigger that response with them as well. So we give them tools. We give them a little gift pack, with simple things that they can use to help with it. We provide the auricular therapy that I'll be touching on. I'm not going to focus on it. We teach them basic ear massage and activation of specific points on the ears, and I am going to share that with you. Like I said, I see it as an adjunct to the main tool of using the SCIO, and then the biofeedback, of course, for the stress reduction. And they do have the biofeedback with every visit that they come to, except when they have a stress reduction session with the massage or reflexology. So the biofeedback for stress management and addictions, this is something that you all are aware of now, that the SCIO's been designed using the principles of quantum physics. And it really does take a shift in their thinking, when we're explaining how it is that this device is working. Now, in our hospital setting, we have to be very discerning with them, with what it is that we're doing. And also, as you all have learned, you have to be very careful with the words you choose and your coaching. So the coaching course that you're taking is also very valuable, but the terminology that you use with them is also very important. So the key that we all use is that we're providing stress reduction, bottom line, okay? And in the private practice, though, if you do want to explain it further, about treating the electrical frequencies of the body, and you can expand on it further, but I'm just saying that in our hospital clinic, we have found that it's better for us to operate to just allow the patient to relax and to fully feel the stress reduction and the activation. So they refer to it as an activation when they come for their session in stress reduction. So we're also doing energetic balancing with the biofeedback, very important. And I'm going to be going over some of the different, I call them guidelines instead of protocols. And instead of reinventing the wheel, I've learned very early, since I was introduced to the SCIO, to use what has been designed. And there's so many wonderful tools out there. And if you're a busy practitioner like we are in the clinic, we see on the average each of us sees about 8 patients a day. And that leaves you little time to, try to figure out what works. But there's so many wonderful guidelines out there that do work. So one of the guidelines that I'm going to use today is Nirvana's in the Quantum Encyclopedia on the addictions, because I have found that you can use that as your recipe or guideline and pick and choose from there. But there are specific programs, that are going to be more valuable for each individual. And the reason I call it a guideline is because you also have a set standard protocol with the standalone program that I'm going to demonstrate. But with the guidelines, I feel that you can make it more individual. And that, to me, is how you as practitioners need to be looking at the client, is on a holistic level, because each of them is going to come to you with a different need or at a different focus with why they need to quit smoking. You may need to do more focus on the NLP, or you may need to do more focus, on the EEG. And so we're going to go over all the different guidelines so that you're familiar with all the programs and how to use those. And then if you need those as a reference, then those tools are available. Okay? So auricular therapy, real quick, it's something that I was introduced to about 20 years ago, and I found it very helpful in my private practice when I was practicing privately. It has an immediate effect, and it's very, very simple. It takes maybe 3 to 5 minutes to do the protocol on the outside of the auricle of the ear. And you learn the mapping of the ear, the microsystem to the full macro system of the body. And once you learn how the ear is mapped out like an inverted embryo, then it makes it very easy to follow, in this case, a specific protocol that I have modified through the years and with specific points on the ears. So I do feel that the auricular and the activation of these points is very valuable. And I am offering it's only a 2-day course. I'll be offering the first course in Santa Monica at Marion White School at the Quantum Center of Excellence, and in July 7th and 8th. And that'll be through IQUIM if you want any information on that. And anyway, using the auricular sets an electrical frequency, but it also stimulates areas in the brain specifically that we're going to be working on. And then after we activate those points, then I also use very specific essential oils. And I've helped with designing this one specific blend. It's called Addiction Blend with a laboratory of flowers, but it's a combination of several oils that I've listed in your book there. But there's so many wonderful oils out there on the market for those of you that are interested in aromatherapy and essential oils. I saw that John Gilbert is offering a study course in aromatherapy through NTCB now. So anyway, there's a lot of applications with that. I like using the oils because, to me, oils are anchored in the limbic system of the brain, which is the memory center. So after we do the activation of the auricular and then are running the biofeedback on them, I like to anchor the response with the oils. And that's why we give the patient these little craving kits. These are essential oils, very concentrated oils, and there's 4 specific oils in here that we use. And this way, if we use them in the clinic, they can either just smell the oils, or they can take them out and just do a real simple application on key points on the ear. And we give them an ear chart so that they know, what ear points to activate. And so they can use, like the Addiction Blend, and it comes with a little wand on the end. We tell them it's real concentrated. And they can either put it over the whole ear and then activate it with a Q-tip, those 9 points that I've pointed out in your book there. Or they can put it, there's an addiction point right here on the forehead that they can put it on. And then as we go through the program and look at different acupuncture points, then you can put it on those points as well. Some patients, they like to just have the oil in their pocket so that they can smell the oil. Again, it triggers the response that they've had during the session. If they have gotten real anxious, I tell them to use the lavender. Lavender is a very, very relaxing oil, and it's also a very easy oil to find on the market. So I tell them to put it on their pillow, take lavender baths with Epsom salt for the relaxation process. So what I'm showing you is that you're teaching them and giving them tools that they can take home with them, okay? And even if you're just using the biofeedback, you can incorporate some of these easy things in your practice as well, you know, depending upon whether you're certified or credentialed to do so. Peppermint is a stimulating oil, so that's another oil that I choose for this kit. And peppermint, sometimes I will do a palm blend, and then I'll activate all the acupuncture points on the scalp, which I'll be demonstrating with her. And it gives them an uplifting response. A lot of times people with depression smoke, or when they smoke, they're depressed because the dopamine levels go down. And then clove. Clove is also a very stimulating oil. So we have toothpicks in here that are dipped in clove, and so they just use the clove on the toothpick and chew on that. So giving them, you know, different substitutes for the, you know, the oral stimulation. Or I recommend the water bottles, the sports bottles, so that they can pull, you know, the cap off with the mouth and, you know, get their water level up to half their body weight. That's very important. And also, the more they drink, they're doing the eye-hand coordination thing as well. Straws, you know, rubber bands, those are all old things too. But you want to keep it simple for them and something that they will use repetitively. And also something that will also give them an anchor response. So that's why I've chosen these simple tools here. So this is just one of the kits, again, that we use to give to the client. And again, the microsystem of the ear and how it's mapped out like an inverted embryo. And I'll be just touching on the specific protocols that we've designed over the last 10 years. So this is the combination of those integrative approaches with the biofeedback. And again, like I said, even though I did practice with just the integrative at one time, I feel that now having the combination of the biofeedback with these other tools, and whatever your tools are, we all come into this, you know, from different backgrounds, and if you're going to be, you know, just a practitioner with the biofeedback, I mean, that in itself, you know, has so much power. But if you have any other background, you know, I encourage people to blend what it is that you know, because there's a reason that you were brought to the biofeedback as well. We also have a smoke-free baby program, and with the smoke-free baby program, we're not allowed to do the biofeedback because of risk with electromedicine. And so with the pregnant women, we mainly can just use certain oils, the relaxing oils with them, and do stress management in other ways. But we do photon stimulation with them, which is light therapy. And we do the light therapy on the auricular smoking cessation points. Yep. Mm-hmm. You mean on the light therapy? Yes. Oh, with the essential oils. Actually, you can put it on with a Q-tip, and then you apply it to specific points on the ears, and then I do teach them how to massage the ears themselves. So if you're not allowed to touch your client, you can demonstrate on yourself, you know, how to do this application with these oils, following your biofeedback, and it's very effective. Yes? Right. Well, even in private practice, I mean, it's up to the practitioner, but and whatever your comfort level is. But I mean, I did work on my sister, and actually she had tried getting pregnant for 25 years and couldn't get pregnant until I started working on her with the SCIO, and she has a 4-year-old healthy, happy, bright little girl now. But with pregnant women, that's again with NTCB and, you know, with what we're taught, you know, you just have to be very discerning, and it's your license if something happens, and just there's no research, you know, to prove, but you just don't want to take the risk for some. I personally feel it's safe, but that's just my belief in the system. So, okay, and then with children, we do see children. We're starting to see autistic children in the clinic, but they have to be with the parent, of course. Oh, there's my sister. So anyway, I used a combination of the biofeedback and also different acupuncture protocols with her with fertility, and did some chakra balancing with little Katerina when she was born with the oils. So there is such a risk for babies, and it's such a need to help mothers, to quit smoking. But like I said, it's it's difficult to do unless you have some other tools. Okay, and I've already gone through what the aromatherapy is because I want to start moving into the actual protocols or guidelines that we're going to be going over. But I love using the essential oils, both in the clinic setting as well as for myself, personally. And I feel that it can really enhance, the relaxation response. So there's all different ways of doing the application. Again, as a practitioner, you always have to know whether or not you're within your scope of practice. We're fortunate as nurses can touch their patients. So we can do the hands-on application. I'm also cross-trained in those modalities of massage therapy and in different energy work. But anyway, it just depends on what your scope of practice is. But oils can be smelled. If you have them in your clinic, they can smell them. This is just the cranioelectrical stimulation. Again, something that we added probably 8 years ago to the program. Keep doing it. And I find that this is a very helpful tool that we send home with them instead of pharmaceutical. And so this is an option that they can take home. What it does is it stimulates the earlobes to send signals to the brain. So it's cranioelectrical stimulation. And what it does is it releases dopamine, serotonin, tryptophan, DHEA, and it decreases cortisol. So those are primary neurochemicals that are depleted when someone smokes. And then when they quit smoking, the reason that they go through the withdrawals is because the dopamine levels have been, really been depleted, and their anxiety is going to go up, and also the depression starts to hit. So the sooner you can get those neurochemicals back up, the better. And I have found that this tool has been very effective in doing that. So we allow them to use that for 2 weeks during, the initial quit stage. Okay, so these are some of the different effects of nicotine. Like I said, with the dopamine, it's producing a false sense of pleasure, and that's why when they smoke, they're thinking that they're having a pleasure response. Appetites decrease. That's one of the main concerns, is that they're going to put on weight. And so there's a very simple, you can do the weight management program on here, or there's a very simple appetite suppressant point on the outside of the ear. Acetylcholine, vasopressin, serotonin, B-endorphins, all of these, like I said, can be affected by the nicotine. Okay. So as you can see, this is our outline of the program. It's not a cold turkey that I'm going to demonstrate here. Although, like I said, I have had results with people from out of town that can only do it on a one-time basis. We do this as continual support because, like I said, the bottom line is we're saving the health system thousands of dollars by getting these people to quit smoking, so we want to be supportive. So they come in on a weekly basis. Once we they come in for their initial consult, and then we set their quit date, but prior to the quit date, they are scheduled for a massage or reflexology for stress management, and then we start the process with scheduling them for the scale. So again, taking responsibility for their health, and it includes everything. So you as practitioners are going to be their coach, and it's not just a matter of just running the program. You're health practitioners, and so anything that you can contribute with your background to support them is what they're going to be needing. Now, it is called, how many here have the Quantum Encyclopedia? Okay. We use this both in our clinic and in my private practice. I put it on my computer, so that I can access it for the guidelines. There's also the 2 different books. Nirvana has done an incredible job with designing these different guidelines and protocols. And so I do want to encourage everybody, if you're a beginning practitioner, to start developing your resource library, until you design your own. Okay, so you go into addictions here. Okay, and this is what I have written out for you all, for those of you who do not have the addiction. Yeah, thanks. I may have you pull up another chair. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you the different protocols that are the different programs within the class so that everybody is familiar with where to find this, okay? If you haven't gone through this before, how many here are new practitioners, beginning practitioners? Okay, great. Great, okay. So as you're learning to navigate, it's important to just realize where it is that all these programs can be found and to get familiar with how to open the programs up so that when you do have a client, you will know, oh, I need to go to the NLP or I need to do blood cleanse on them, so that you get comfortable with the navigation. So I'm just going to briefly go over what is on the addiction here. So in the SCIO body viewer, we're going to be looking at that. I'm going to be showing you in the disease dictionary, in the individual NLP, and in the search matrix, in the biofeedback, in the acupuncture, and electrohypnosis, and in the allergy treatment. And then also there's one that's not on here that I'm going to show, and that's on the inversion, inverting it in the very beginning. And that's one that we do at the very end if we're using the SCIO. Now I'm going to start with the SCIO, and let's see. Excuse me, lady in orange. Are you ready to quit? I'm ready to quit. All right, come on down. What I want to do is I want to demonstrate to you what the interview process will be and what it is that I'm going to be doing with her. Now, supposedly, you had a session with me, a consultation session with me, which we haven't done yet, so you're going to be a cold turkey. And so with cold turkey, what I mean by that is we're going to use the frequencies. Here, you can go ahead and sit back. We're going to use the frequencies of the SCIO device here. And we're going to run several different programs depending upon what's going to show up with you, and then we're going to see how your body responds, and then I'm going to invert the cigarette. Do you have any cigarettes with you?
In my purse.
Okay, will somebody bring her purse down because I'll need a cigarette?
It's the white one on the floor.
Because you want to put the cigarette on the test matrix, okay, when you're inverting it.
And I've already had my 2.5.
Okay, so you're a newbie.
I'm a newbie.
Okay, you probably haven't even been to training yet.
No, I don't.
Okay, so what I'm going to do with her is I'm going to use the standalone smoking program first so that we can demonstrate that, and then we'll go into the regular class program, because with the regular class program I don't have the, well, I guess I do. Do we have the straps? In straps, yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and open on up. Now, even in the clinic setting, I've got her in a comfortable reclined position. I just brought a blow-up pillow for my travel, but we usually put a heated neck wrap around them. And like I said, I don't like to hook up any of the other electromedicine, but I believe I will on her after I get started in the program. And then I'm going to anchor her with some oil so I can do the demonstration. Yes. Okay. Question? No, I do in my private practice. But again, we've had to be very discerning being in an allopathic medical center and to keep it as stress reduction. And that was very important to get it to the level where we are now. And with the results that we're getting, though, and with the support of key physicians, we have an integrative task force committee now with key physicians from all the different specialties, whether it's the headache, the internal medicine, cardiovascular, the pain clinic, So we have the support of all the key physicians now that know what we're doing. But since we've designed it in a way to keep it as a relaxing therapy for the patient in that particular setting, that's what has been successful. In my private practice, I do more engaging with the client and more interaction with them. Okay, so she's going to fill in the demographics here for me on her, which you all know how to do, and we'll get that part of it set up. Now, there are several different ways of running this protocol, and what I would like to do is just methodically go through and open up the panels that you have outlined beginning on page 85, and that way the purpose will be for you to get familiar with where to find all of these different things here. Okay, so my first evaluation is I'm going to be looking at the VAR-HOPE. Voltage, 29. And what does voltage relate to? Adrenal function. I'm sure you all have been to an adrenal presentation here. So I see that the adrenal functions usually with smokers is very depleted majority of the time. Amperage with the brain, you know, the chemistry in the brain, 19. So, you know, you've got some low numbers happening here. And so, again, once we get things cleared, it's going to be so important for you to not only refrain from the smoking, but there's other lifestyle things that are going to be important for you to do for your whole health. Not just for the smoking is a wonderful motivational thing that you're doing for yourself, but you've got to look at your hydration. You have to look at your exercise. You also have to look at the nutrition and minerals and vitamins that you're putting in your body, you know, with your digestion. And also on what you're going to be doing for your stress management. So when you're working with somebody, again, you want to look at all aspects of what they're dealing with, not just with the smoking cessation itself, okay? So if I've been picking up on some other things, I want to immediately begin coaching with that. And then resistance, at least she's got a strong constitution, it's 84, hydration 52, and oxygen 40. So, so anyway, that's reflective of the number of years that she has smoked and probably beginning stages of COPD and emphysema. Resonant frequency, reactance, her phase response and reactance is only 400, so that is of some concern as well. But she's got great cellular vitality, so you come from a strong constitution, don't you? Yeah. Yes, she does. Okay, so less eating and more chewing. Do you have a tendency to eat fast? You have to eat slowly, so that's reaffirming for you, yes, because of her bypass stomach surgery. So, you know, just reinforcing what it is that she's had done, and again, taking into consideration, you know, the whole person, you know, not just what we're doing with the addiction. Any question as we're doing the VAR-HOPE here?
Yes, on the R, you said strong constitution.
Mm-hmm. Immune. Yeah. Yeah, she doesn't have any resistance. Yeah, I mean, she's flowing good, so, you know, she'll be a good channel to work with. We'll be able to hopefully get some results. But again, she's got some major lifestyle changes as well that are going to have to be coached and looked at with this. Are you comfortable lying there? Okay. It's important that however it is that you have your clinic set up or your practice set up, that your client is very, very comfortable. And so, like I said, we just have worked it, you know, for them to be either in a reclining position or a laying down position. Mm-hmm.
How do you hold and certainly all tests out of this? How do you pass that on? You pass on. You're getting a lot of information.
Right. Yes. He's saying, how do we pass this information on to the physician, and do they listen? But I believe what's important is that we're getting results with the patients, and we're spending more quality time with the patients than the 3 minutes that the physician gets to spend, and they see the results that we're getting, and so they've developed a trust with us. They know that what we're doing, I mean, we don't need to, give them, daily feedback. I mean, they're so overwhelmed with paperwork as it is. So, as professionals, we take care of our business, we produce results, the patients go back to them for, for their own touch-up or checkup, and they report back to the physician with the results that they got. If we have any concern, immediate concern, then of course we will communicate that to the physician. Okay. So I'm just going to, if I could get one more chair up here, I'll stand up and do it, that's okay. I'm going to just open this up real quick, like you all are probably being taught in your classes. You can go to system power settings. Now with her health history, I'm just gonna keep her on normal. But I'm gonna activate positive consciousness. Thank you. And you can intensify and at least up to 50, and with some people I'll do it even more. If I'm doing subspace, I'll take the QIF even higher. So again, that's up to your own discretion. And she activated all, scalar boost, and shield from remote viewing. Okay. Now, in the book here, it does not say to go into the risk profile, but I am going to do that first. And actually, because of what she's going through and because of her state of toxicity, it's going to be a good idea for me to at least clear some channels with her. If I don't open up some channels of elimination with her, she may end up with a healing crisis, with what I'm about to do. And so I'm going to go ahead and at least open up some channels of elimination. I think it's important, and we teach this in the beginner class, to open up the channels of elimination in the very beginning so that you have more ease of flow, and also to prevent that healing crisis from occurring. So the channels of elimination are the lymph, the liver, the lungs, and I'm just going to at least open them up one time. No, not on this time. I just want to, because of my time restraint and because of everything I want to go through, but I want to at least, give everything a boost. If I had my full hour and a half with her, I would take those 2 rectification, but not more than 3 times. Lungs and kidneys. What we teach in the beginner's class is to open it up through the program, through the short SAR code. The reason is you don't have the rectification in the body viewer that you do on the short SAR code program itself. This repaired down here. Okay. Okay, and then I'm just going to do the small intestine because it does encompass all the different organs of elimination. In her situation, because her adrenals are exhausted, I'm also going to take this opportunity to just give her an endocrine boost. Now, she would be one that, with the successive sessions that I have with her, I would, besides the activation for the smoking cessation, I would spend some time on her endocrine system, as well as on her respiratory system and her digestive system. Because of the brief health history that I attained with her, I know that she's going to be having some issues with those, and as she's eliminating toxins from her body, those will be some of the key systems that are going to be affected. Okay, thank you. Okay, so we at least opened the SAR codes up. Then I like to go straight to the risk profile. And I'm going to pick 3 from the red and 3 from the bottom. And I'm doing this specific because I'm going to be working more specific smoking. So I'm going to look at her water acid. And I'm also going to do, just a second here, respiratory, and oxidation. So I like to do 3 from the top and 3 from the bottom. So long-term cognition, which of course the nicotine affects. And she's had a lot of radiation, a lot of EMF, and then lymphatic. Now I don't always take them in the order of the top 3 and bottom 3. That's just what I do. I go up here to the top then, and I right click and copy before I treat, and then treat. The reason that I do this is because then I'm going to cut and paste this into the Schumann wave, and that way I'll put that under the diseases. It's just a shortcut. So this is the preliminary setup that I do with my patients, and then like I said, I will review what's on the addiction protocol of Nirvana's, but I don't always use all of those, but the ones that I do open up, then we will go through those that way. Okay, from here, I'm not going to go into all of these right now because I'm going to keep it more specific for the smoking. So at this point, I'm going to close, and now I'm going to load the Skio and the body viewer. And I always like to open up the Skio and the body viewer before opening up the disease dictionary, because I've had problems with the disease dictionary. If I open it first, then the body viewer won't open, or vice versa. Okay, did that go down? Yep. And it looked like the disease was already down there. Okay. I'm going to close out of there. Now I'm going to do the quick cut and paste. Right click onto primary disease, and this is what I'm pasting from the top and the bottom 3 on the risk profile. And then the organ relation, the generic for this is all, okay? And then the emotional blockage, the generic blockage for that is fear. So that just gets my Schumann wave going in the background immediately. The other thing that I like to open up immediately is the affirmation in the organ generator. And so what I'm going to do is open up the test again, go into the research and reports, and open up the Nelson report. I like to look at this, whether I'm doing the addiction or whether I'm doing somebody in pain, so that I have an eyeball view of everything that's going on with them, so that I can tailor that session more specifically to their needs. So as I can see, of course, the endocrine, thymus, lung, adrenals. So if I had time, I would be spending more time on those systems, but she'll be one that would be coming back for successive systems, treatments or sessions. And of course, the digestion, lymph, we've opened up a lot of organs of elimination because that's what's needed. And of course, all the toxicities in the body that was to be suspected. Okay. The affirmation that it gives is, I forgive myself for all of my errors. Is there, do you resonate with that affirmation, or is there any other affirmation that you would like for that? That sounds good for you? At this point, I would probably take that as an opportunity to explore that further, but I'm not going to do that at this time. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight that, and I'm going to copy that, and then I'm going to go and open up the organ generator now, and I'm going to paste that affirmation in there. I forgive myself for all of my errors. And so that's going to be running in the background, and so I'm going to keep it close to her at, actually I'll put it at 25. And we'll just get that moving in the background. So I've got a lot of things that have already happened with this initial thing before I even start with the addiction protocols. So anyway, just as a brief recap, you do the SOC, the coaching of them through their lifestyle, open up the organs of elimination, risk profile, cut and paste into the Schumann wave, open up the organ generator, and paste in the affirmation. Okay, so now we're going to start, I'm going to just open up some of these programs here. We're going to go into the SCIO Body Viewer. Okay, so because I opened up the risk profile first, and you always close it at the bottom, then it is going to load for you the ones that it has, the unconscious has picked. Lymphatic, oxidation, pH, balance, radiation, respiratory. Those are also some of the ones that I had picked. Okay. Now here, someone asked if you could just load this in the body viewer. This is where you could open up the organs of elimination. And again, because of the risk that I sense, you know, with her, I'm going to just double check on myself, and I'm going to open up some of the organs of elimination here. I'm not going to pick all of them, but I just feel like she needs a little extra boost, just because I don't want her getting sick here at the Congress. Otherwise, you'll be coming back to me. Okay? So I like to open up the organs first, and then, so if you want to add that on, and then go into Program Start. And then I always like to load the unconscious choices first. Cognition is one. And then load the individual movie program. Okay. And then I always like to just load, in addition to the ones that Nirvana has put here with treat disease path of old trauma. You can, you have the choice of entering any of these other ones as well. Okay. And then you can go over to the psychological, and this is the addiction therapy. Okay, so we've got the addiction running here. And into SCIO therapy, I'm going to stop the animation for a minute, and I'm just going to take a quick peek at her aura. So she's got some energies that need to be cleared. And then go into the miscellaneous and the homeopathic activation, or homeopathic extras, sorry. Okay. So in here, you can add some miscellaneous numbers under the, and if you want to add those in, Julie, as I'm saying them, I'll give you the chair here. Okay, so I would type in 5468. No, it's okay. And then under, so that's under no-sodes, and then I-sodes, you could type in all those other numbers. I do a quick thing I'm just going to share with you. And this is a cocktail, so I have, we have all of these numbers. Oops. Sorry. Okay, so an easy way is you could, you know, have these different cocktails in your documents, and then just highlight on those numbers so that you don't have to type them in, and then just right-click and copy. And then under miscellaneous, then right-click and then paste. And that way you've got, you know, your cocktail. So that's one quick way of doing it. Otherwise, you can just hand copy all of those in there. And then also under miscellaneous, you can put these anywhere. You can put this cocktail, you can put it under miscellaneous, or you can also put it under the ISOD up here. It doesn't matter where it is that you put it. It's minerals and vitamins. Okay, that's all I'm going to do there. And then under miscellaneous, I'm going to put in here nicotine addiction. Because that's what it is that we're dealing with right now. And then after you do that, then you want to activate, okay? And then let's go ahead and close. Okay, I'm going to reduce this. And then let's go ahead and open up the disease. So if you're doing the smoking cessation specifically, you can scroll down to the addiction here, okay? And do it with the electroacupuncture, and then go through the process of quick calibrate. And if that button's missing, you go up into therapies, and into therapies, then you can click on the quick calibrate or on the quick test. And then the next one is go up under programs and open up the NLP. Like I said, I'm just going to start showing you where these programs are. We're not going to actually run a lot of them. And under the NLP, under the therapies, this is a wonderful addiction release, stop addictive behaviors. So this is a good one to run. I'm going to go ahead and do this one, but I'm going to have her smell this addiction release. That's the name of this oil. If you want to just hold that and smell it. That particular, I use several different oil companies, but that one is from Laboratory of Flowers. Laboratory of Flowers, Michael Scholes, S-C-H-O-L-E-S. So keep smelling that. Okay, so she had a good rectification on that. So I'm going to go ahead and move on. Okay, let's go ahead and close out of that. And go up into programs, and we're going to go into the acupuncture pictures access. Okay, and then under here, then the specific one that you can choose point, test, and treat is the EXB2 addiction point. And so you can either scroll down or you can type in that number. Let's see. So there, the EXB2. So then you would just, I'm not going to do it, but you would just test and treat that number there. So like I said, there's several different programs. It just depends on where you want to go with it. And then the next one is electrohypnosis. And this one, if you want to hold that one, I'm going to type in the suggestion. I am smoke-free and relax naturally and honor my health with proper nutrition, hydration, relaxation, and what else? Oh, all right, and love. Okay, so just go intuitive and start typing an affirmation or a suggestion. So what we're saying to you, Kathleen, is that we're going to do the electrohypnosis, and you're now smoke-free and you relax naturally. You honor your health with proper nutrition, hydration, relaxation, and love. Okay. So you can do just a brief one, but the 7-minute one is a real good relaxation. So any of these that take extra time, then I take that opportunity to do the oils application or to do the auricular activation. And so as practitioners, you just have to be aware of how long all the different programs work. So just practice navigating through several of these different programs. The next wonderful program is in the biofeedback itself. So you can access it through programs or from the main chart. Okay. Now in here, there's different programs that you can do. She would need several different ones in here, but it just depends on, you know, which one you need. But the addiction release, this is the one that we primarily use in our clinic. So I would just work on this one, and as you know, it will run long-term. And when you use the sound on this, if you have headphones, the speaking through this that Dr. Nelson does is very powerful. So, you know, I would suggest that you use this with sound. And again, use it as an opportunity to do some of the other hands-on or other protocols that you have. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move through that. Okay, the next one is allergy. So she has a cigarette. Okay, so from the allergy, no, just take one out. So go down under the allergy test and treatment. This is where you want to use their cigarette and put it on the test matrix. Okay, open up the allergy. Let's see. Wait, that's not the one I want. I want to go into Meridian. Yeah. Thank you. Go up into Auto Meridian, which also has the therapy. Okay, and then in the white box, I'm sorry, I'm getting mixed up trying to follow her thing. Okay, so we've put the cigarette on the metal test tray, and then you fill in the top 3 white boxes, and you open up the allergy treatment. And do you have any allergies, Kathleen? No allergies. Okay. And I'm going to put the lungs here. I'm going to put circulation. And I'm going to put lymphatic. And digestion. Okay. And she doesn't have any allergic symptoms, you know, per se here. So she said that she doesn't. Do you have any symptoms when you smoke, though? Do you have like runny nose, or do you have coughing spells, or can you taste your food? You can. Okay. A lot of people, when they smoke, they can't taste their food, or the food, you know, just is neutral for them. Okay. All right. So I'm going to release the mental fixation. She doesn't have any, it's mostly the mental fixation that she's having here. So now I'm going to do the inversion of the allergen from the test tray. So this is one panel you can do it. We do it off of the, in the main test matrix, where you can invert it off of the reactivity. And then in the smoking cessation program, you can also put the cigarette on the test tray while they're being desensitized. So that's the other place to put it. Now, for this one, if you're using this program, you can extend it, the time, over here to 20 minutes. But because of, you know, time purposes, I don't want to do that right now. But when you're running this program on yourself, you probably would benefit from doing this, you know, anytime you're having the craving, and except, you know, not every, probably 72 hours. It's recommended not to retest every 72 hours, but I also feel that the therapies, you know, you've got to give the body time to acclimate. So you could do a 20-minute inversion of the allergen here, and during that time is when I would do the activation of the auricular. Okay, so the rest of it under addiction, that's just the different explanations of what addiction is and all the different things that cause it and different things that they can do. So I want to show you one more program here and go up into treatments. And under treatment, stimulate reaction, duplicate remedy. Okay, and under here, I type in invert addiction to invert addiction to nicotine. And then I've also have put, yeah, and I also, even though they're not going to smoke it, having their lips on the cigarette as well will also help with that. So you want to activate all, and I'm going to amplify it, and then I'm going to start the correction. And again, I'm going to just go ahead and start the correction on her just to give her another boost to get started here. And as that's working, go ahead and continue smelling that oil. I'm having her smell the oil because the oil is going into the limbic system of the brain. The limbic system is the memory center. And so as this response is getting anchored, then the oil, whenever she smells it, and I'll give her a sample of it, then she'll just carry that with her. Every time she has a craving, she's going to smell it, and it can re-elicit the response of the frequencies that are being sent. Okay, she got a correction of 79%, so I'm going to go ahead and stop there. And we're going to go ahead and end this session with you now, but I'm going to go ahead and do some activation on your ear, and I'm going to bring up the protocol for that. Julie, if you'll just rectify her out. Okay, what I'm going to do is I brought a simple piezo tool, and in your book you have the ear, and I'm just going to activate those different ear points with her just using the simple piezo. Okay, and then I just need, thank you. I appreciate you being here. And it's important, Kathleen, that you drink some water now too. Okay. I'm just going to scroll down through to the ears so that you know what it is that I'm doing here. Now that she's been activated, then I'm going to activate the ear points, and then I'm just going to anchor it with the oils to the scalp. Mm-hmm. Oh, separate. You do them separate. And then, yes, yes. You can amplify and then invert. You're amplifying what it is that you're inverting. Why don't you describe your experience?
Well, I definitely could feel all the vibrations throughout my whole body, but especially with deep breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth, the oil, I literally can taste the oil in my mouth, and I really have absolutely no desire to even have a cigarette. And I'm very, very, very relaxed.
Okay, so I'm going to anchor this really, really, really relaxed session here with stimulating these simple points, and then I'm going to just do a real quick activation of her ears with the oil that I'm going to give her to keep, okay? Yeah. If you want to hold this. Okay. And if you want to read the first point, so I'm following the order of their book. Okay, the first point that I'm going to do is called point 0, and that's just right here in the center of the ear, okay? And for some people, I'll figure this out. For some people, that can be a real tender point, especially with her digestive issues. You know, sometimes that point particularly can be really, really sensitive. Now, I have specific oils underneath each of these points up here, and that's what we have put into that proprietary blend with Michael Scholes. Consulted with him on putting this blend of oils together. So the oil that she was smelling, the addiction blend, it has all of these different oils. So clary sage is for the point 0, bringing the whole body towards a general homeostatic balance, balances the hormones and balances the brain activity. Like I said, all of these points were specifically chosen for what it is that they're doing in the body. The next one is Shin Min. I use Shin Min with all of my patients because it's the divine gateway, and it tranquilizes the mind and allows connection to one's spirit. Okay, and the next one would be the tranquilizer point. This is a very important point for anybody with anxiety, and this is one that I teach them to apply the oils to, and it's on the outside of the tragus, and it also reduces high blood pressure and chronic stress. So with all the work that you all are doing, this is an important point to know where it is. And maybe it might be, yeah, let's see. Well, I had a chart where it had it. But you have it in your book, you know, with where the points are. But the tranquilizer point is right here, and the weight reduction point is right above it. And so when I do the tranquilizer point, then I tell them, take a deep breath, and I'm just going to activate this. And do you have any concern about gaining weight with now that you've quit smoking?
No, because I eat such small amounts anyway.
Okay. I teach them, and what I want you to be doing, Kathleen, is I've got some lavender oil, and I want you to be applying it to this tranquilizer point right here. Okay? All right? And then the next point, yes, it's right here on the outside. I use lavender because it's very, very calming, and it has a very calming effect. I also tell them to put it on the earlobe, because the earlobe is the brain center, and that's where all the neurochemical responses are. And so bringing the lavender from the tranquilizer point down to the earlobe can be very relaxing. And again, it's something that you as practitioners can just demonstrate on yourself and show your client what they can do, you know, and even just doing it manually can have a relaxation response. So do that. And then in the earlobe is the master cerebral point, and also lung 1 and 2 are very important. I'm going to go ahead and activate those, and those are on the inside concha of the ear. And I also am going to tell you, Kathleen, that these inside points of your ear is what you can put the oils on, or you can activate with your finger or with a Q-tip. When you're teaching them how to take care of themselves. And so I'm just going to show her how with her thumb, those lung points are going to be very important for her to clear. And so she's going to be doing that at home. And you do it on the other side as I do it on this side, because I'm only going to do one side. And I'm just going to activate it here real quick. Now in our clinic, when I travel, I just travel with my travel model here, but we have a clinical model with electrical frequencies that we use for doing the ear points. And again, it's a very simple method to learn, and there's workshops all over the country through ACI that you can get certified through. Okay, the next one would be the limbic system, and this is a very important point, as well as the nicotine point and the antidepressant point. So I'm going to just go ahead and take care of all of these just by doing some acupressure with the oil. So I'm going to just put a little bit of this oil on my hand, and all of those points you can just activate by rubbing down on here, okay? So now you've got your ears activated with the addiction release. And then do your shin min up here, and then the very top of your ear is psychosomatic, okay? So now you know that how important it is to massage your ears while you're relaxing in the tub and taking a lavender bath with Epsom salt and just allowing your body to relax and love yourself.
She did that a lot.
All right.
We use a lot of lavender salt.
So you want to reemphasize everything that you also have put into the electrohypnosis, and so you're doing a lot of interaction with them as well as what you have done in the program. So you're reinforcing what it is that you've done here, like in the electrohypnosis. So we've got the addiction program, or the addiction protocol, and that just shows, that's going to show how to use all the oils and everything. Let's see. All of these others are different handouts that we give out of the clinic so that we can educate the client with what they need to be doing for themselves. Let's see. The billing. This one's important because for those people that are interested in billing insurance, it is billed under the biofeedback code, and we do get reimbursement for that. So it's billed differently on what we call a SOAP charting billing, and the interventions are what are given a numerical value, and then from those values, it puts them at a certain level. And so this is the basic code that we use, is 90901, and these are the different ICD-9 diagnoses, and for smoking, it's anxiety, unless they also are being sent, like I said, we have patients that are being sent prior to surgery for low back pain, or pain in joints, migraines, different fibromyalgia. So these are the common patients that we see out of the clinic. And then as the clinician sees the client, then this is everything that they're going to be doing. This is through IQUIM. Like I said, I just want to show you all the documentation that we're using and interfacing with. Yeah, but I'm done. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Let me undo it. Wait. Let me get Levi going here. Okay, so there's different protocols. This is the integrative education. I think that this is important. Like I said, as practitioners, you need to educate, and so doing the documentation of what you've educated them on is very important with their nutrition, their addictive behaviors, their daily self-care, their use of cranial electrical stimulation, exercise, and then also what they're doing for their pain. So all of these different documentations have been developed over the past 10 years, and we just keep refining them. But I feel that, like I said, it's something that can be used by other clinics because we know what has worked and what has been duplicated or what needs to be eliminated. And this is one of the simple documentations that we finally have designed that makes it easy from visit to visit. Now, I know when you're in a private practice, a lot of times you don't have to do this extensive of documentation, but anybody that's in a clinic setting, this is part of the what we call JCO requirements. So anyway, that's just a brief overview. I hope that this kind of opened your mind with, making sure that you look at the person as a whole person and treat them, with whatever tools it is that you have in your bag. And it just so happens these are the tools that we use here. So I hope, Kathleen, you're successful on your journey and continue using the SKU on yourself. That's going to be very, very important. So, okay. All right.